How are you doing, guys? Hope you're good. So it's 5 o'clock Thursday morning, and we're going to get into this. So this morning I wanted to talk about whether self-sabotage was a habit for you. Whether you've kind of slowly slipped into that funnel and that routine of every time something almost gets good for you, or that something always kicks in, that habit kicks in, and then you end up self-sabotaging so that you end up ruining any progress that you're making. You end up taking steps back rather than forwards, and whether that is actually hindering you moving forwards. So just like anything that's a habit, obviously the more you end up doing something, the more you slowly get into that habit. So for example, let's say you start drinking a can of Coke, you enjoyed it, and you end up buying a can of Coke every time you get to the train station. You then suddenly, before even realising it, have bought 5 cans of Coke in a week because you just got into the habit of buying that can of Coke before you get on the train. Or it could be anything such as like after having a drink after work. So you might have gotten in the habit of coming home, having 1 beer, and then, maybe that's 2, but you quite like the taste of the beer. It kind of makes you feel relaxed. It kind of makes you feel like you are chilling out. So what ends up happening is that you get into the habit of buying that beer. And I guess the same is true when it comes to self-sabotage. Now you think about self-sabotage and you think about actually you trying to progress, let's say with your fitness and your fitness routine, or you're trying to improve your nutrition. And what ends up happening is that you end up self-sabotaging that journey. And that will be either by consuming the wrong foods, by using various excuses from the excuse fairy. So, you might be trying to eat really well, but then all your mates might be going for a curry and some beers, and you get roped into that bang and you're straight off. You then might, so you're sabotaging, actually the fact that you're trying to eat well and not drink. Exercise. You might decide that you want to do your fitness in the evening. Actually, you come home, you see your fitness kit all laid out, and you decide to sit on the sofa instead. And it's just that chimp inside of your head. So that split personality that is allowing you to take the easy option, or not, and allowing you to stay true to your path, the path that you decided that you were going on. And it could be a whole host of small sabotages that are building up and that you are unable to control. And then all of a sudden what ends up happening is that it becomes a habit, all of the time. And then that's where you're stuck in that rut, because what's happening is you're in a habit of continuously, you are continuously like in that rut of self-sabotages. And it could be from a million things. It could be about picking a fight with a wife. It could be from something you're doing at work. You could be the way that you're thinking on the day and your mentality on the day. But what happens is you get into that habit, and without even realising it, you are consistently pulling yourself back or holding yourself back. You might as well be wearing a ball or chain, or it's like canoeing up a river. You're just not getting anywhere. So I'm going to give you I want to give you 3 tips that are kind of fucking super basic, guys, but they're really to get the brain thinking and to put some understanding in it. And I think the first thing is to realise that you most likely are in a fucking shit state. Okay, you are consistently in the habit of self-sabotaging, drinking, fucking drugs, whatever it might be, shouting at the wife, taking all your shit out on everyone else other than you, whatever that might be. So the first thing is to recognise it. The first tip is to recognise it. And one of the things that I suggest to a lot of people I work with is to buy a journal. And every time you self-sabotage, you call it the self-sabotage journal. Every time you self-sabotage, you write it down in a book. You write down the date, you write down how you self-sabotage yourself, and you keep that book going for 4 weeks. And what you'll do at the end of each week, I want you to read through each of the things that you've written down. So when you're reading through your journal, you're looking through all those incidences that you've self-sabotaged yourself and held yourself back. You just put another chink on the armour, all right? And what that does is raises your self-awareness about actually what you are self-sabotaging about. You're understanding the patterns that are leading up to the things that you're self-sabotaging. You're understanding maybe a time period, whether it's around work, whether it's around something that's going on in your life. And what you do is then after a month, you kind of look at that and go, okay, well, fuck me. Look how many times I've self-sabotaged myself over a 4-week period. So, you know, our next steps will come in a minute. What am I going to do about that? Instead of burying your head in the sand, saying everything's all right, putting on a mask, a fake smile, and saying, oh, well, that's all right. So it's really about self-awareness and writing stuff down and actually keeping a journal of this, okay? It's the same as a food journal. It's the same as keeping your books at work. You know, you're tracking. And I think that's really important. Second thing is to really understand the, I don't know how to put it. I think the second one is to really understand how important it is to realise that this is going to take a long time to deal with, okay? I think people are looking for quick fixes, but what we are having to do, or what you are going to have to do is, let's check the time, is rewire the way that you think, okay? Rewire the way that your brain works, rewire the way that you see the world. Because a lot of your self-sabotage comes from here. Your brain comes from your chimp, not your logical thinking side of your brain. And you're going to have to start managing that. And a great book that you can read about this is The Chimp Paradox. I'd recommend it to anybody. But understanding your habits, your routines, your structures, okay, all of these things are affecting what you do, okay? And you can never change it overnight, but what we need to do is manage it over a long period of time. Okay, the way that you do your fitness, the way that you manage your life, the way that you manage your time consumption, your productivity, all of these things come into play in how you do one small thing is how you do everything. So understand that over that long period of time, you know, you are going to make changes, small wins, getting 1% better each day. This is not something that you're going to be able to control suddenly by going, oh, tonight I'm just fucking not going to drink beer, muscling it out, because you have to slowly introduce all of these new habits and routines to your system, to your brain. Okay, and the third one is actually do something about it. Okay, do something about it. You're writing all of this stuff down in a journal. You realise it's going to take time. Set some goals. Set small goals that are going to slowly bring you out of this rut, slowly bring you out of this self-sabotage habit, this self-sabotage state that is holding you back. Because you want to be up here, and you're down here, and sometimes you get close, you're working your way up the mountain, and then it's like somebody fucking puts a Bergen on your back and brings you all the way back down to earth, okay? And you can't get yourself up to that mountain because you consistently keep putting on a fresh backpack, and it keeps consistently bringing you down. It's like the old hamster wheel, right? When the old gerbil or hamster's on that wheel, and they're fucking sprinting, but they're not going anywhere. You know, and that's how I see people who are self-sabotaging all the time. I see it all the time, you're ignoring it. You're ignoring the process, you're ignoring the signs, you're ignoring the fact that, you know, you're massively overweight, that you're massively unhappy, that you're massively not moving forwards with life. And you continue to ignore it. And you'll end up living a life of misery unless you get a fucking grip of this self-sabotage. And there's 3 tips to help you do that. I hope you have a great day. Catch you soon.